My cousin Amy has twins and has a nasty habit of dumping them onto relatives to babysit for the entire day without any warning or regard for their time. I have a very strained relationship with her, but because my mom's side of the family demands that we all remain close-knit, so I have no choice to tolerate her. When she initially gave birth to them, she teased me that I'll have to take on babysitting duty from now on. I'm no good with kids, so I remarked to her that if I ever have them, I'll train them, not babysit. She brushed me off. The kids now are hella destructive and loud, pulling out stuffing inside furniture, holes inside walls, smashing anything glass and porcelain, screaming louder than a fire alarm. You name it. When it was my first turn to deal with them, I immediately walked with them to the store and grabbed the biggest bag of M&Ms I could find and trained them so that every time they follow my orders and behave, they get one. If they misbehave, I get one. Soon enough, every time the kids were dumped on me, they went with my guidelines and behaved. Whenever I say sit, they sit at the table. When I say stay, they don't leave that spot, etc. 2 days ago there was a party planned with the whole extended family. I know, pandemic. Didn't want to, but mom insisted, and I grabbed the M&Ms since the twins were there. Arrived, twins were being so destructive, an entire tray of food was spilled. That all the adults had enough and yelled at Amy to control them. She vomited the same excuse of them just being kids and they'll grow out of it eventually. I shouted the twins' names and shook my M&Ms bag. They came running over to me and I popped 6 pieces into my mouth for their misbehavior. I told them to go clean up the mess or no candy all night. They do so. Halfway through the party, every time something similar came up or they just weren't behaving, I was the one able to calm them down. When Amy saw what I was doing, she got angry and started yelling at me about how her children aren't animals and that I shouldn't be giving them so much candy anyway. I told her that I'm their aunt, not their parent. Why am I the one disciplining them? Isn't that her job? She screamed the same argument at me, and since she's their mother, to stop giving them candy. One of the twins overheard and went apeshit. Dashed straight into the kitchen and started shattering anything they can get his hands on, shouting over and over that he wants candy. His twin joined him soon after. I repeated that she's their mother, and just sat in the living room watching it all unfold. At the end, Amy blamed me for them turning out this way. The other relatives she dumped them on, a majority, disagreed, but when I told a friend about the situation, he told me that the training I did can really up the kids mentally later in life. I married my wife Elise 12 years ago. She has a 16-year-old daughter, Anna, from her previous relationship, and we have a 7-year-old son as well. From pretty much the beginning of our relationship, Anna and I have never gotten along. I don't know how to emphasize that it is not because of a lack of trying. She just does not like me. When she was young, she was just scared of me and afraid I'd tear their family apart. Nowadays it's more of a neutral dislike rather than strong antipathy, so I suppose that's progress. Elise is a stay-at-home mother, so she relies on me for income. As a result, I pay for everything for Anna. Food, clothes, volleyball fees, field trips. I take an interest in her hobbies. I go to her games. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I try my damn hardest to be the stepfather I can. But it's so hard. Always giving me curt one-word responses. Always having to have an attitude. She does things to get a rise out of me. Staying out late reeking of booze. Always trying to sneak boys in. Typical rebellious stuff. But I always let her know I love her and I'm there for her in hopes of her shithead teenager phase pasts. The opposite is true for her biological father. She adores him. Can't tell you why. He never goes to her games, always makes excuses for why he doesn't want to see her. He forgot her birthday last month and she cried herself to sleep. Well, anyways, Friday, I came to her room to check her phone and read her messages, not a permanent thing. But she's been caught sneaking out twice in the last month, so this is her punishment. I ask for the phone, she says, "No, I'm tired of you checking my shit, leave me alone." I tell her I'm not asking again and she goes, "Just off already. You're not my real dad. You never have been." Stop acting like you can tell me what to do before getting up and slamming the door. Like I said, guys, I'm tired. Tired of the blatant disrespect. Of being the verbal punching bag while still providing more for her than anyone else in her family. We haven't really talked since until this morning during breakfast. She asked if I could pay for her plane tickets so she could see her boyfriend cross-state. Like I said, her mom doesn't work and her dad is a POS, so I normally would be the one to cough up the money. Not this time. I responded, "Go ask your real dad." I could tell she was hurt. Tears swelled up from her face and she excused herself from the table. My wife took me aside later and said my comment was extremely disrespectful. I said if anything's disrespectful, it's her treating me like a doormat and a credit card. And I will no longer tolerate this treatment in my house. I told her we don't have to be friends. But if she can't at least be cordial to me or respect my position as an authority figure, she can find someone else to pay for her non-essentials. I am a 39-year-old male, and I lost my late wife 6 years ago. I have a 16-year-old son, Daniel, and I recently got engaged to my fiancé of 2 years. Her mom and I aren't on good terms because of how she behaves. She's a controlling, self-centered, Dolly Parton wannabe. I learned to ignore, but she's been annoying Daniel and criticizing his personality regularly. He's a private kid and still hasn't gotten used to the new family dynamic, but he's in therapy and is doing fine. She keeps diagnosing him left and right, calling him antisocial, autistic and other crap. Fact is, Daniel is a shy, well-mannered kid, but people confuse that with being antisocial. Mother-in-law tried several times to force Daniel to open up by embarrassing him with personal questions on family dinners and test his personality type. I've realized the effect her behavior had on Daniel, so I gave him the choice to no longer be in the same room / house as mother-in-law, and he appreciated this a lot. Mother-in-law didn't like that Daniel kept his distance and no longer visits and kept ing about how spoiled he will become for her daughter to deal with. I told her to stop bringing it up, but she cried, "I'm just doing this for Danny." Last week she visited unexpectedly, wanting to say hi to Daniel. After Daniel greeted her, he went into the bathroom and she went into the living room with my fiancé. I was in my bedroom when Daniel came and said his journal was gone. We looked for it but didn't find it. I asked my fiancé, who was alone in the kitchen, but didn't see it. I paused for a second to ask where mother-in-law was. My fiancé said in the living room, but I saw her coming down the stairs. I asked where she was. She said the bathroom. I saw her purse in hand, so I bluntly asked if she took Daniel's journal. She looked offended and called for my fiancé when I insisted to see inside her purse. She wanted to leave, but I didn't let her. Fiancé told me to stop it, but I insisted, and the journal was there. Mother-in-law tried to explain this was her only chance to get to know Daniel better because she cares about him. I blew up at her and berated her for stealing from my son and told her she's banned from my house for the stunt she pulled. She argued with me, then left. My fiancé apologized for her but said banning her from the house was over the top. It backlashed and father-in-law argued and hoped his daughter realizes how I am and call off the wedding for refusing to apologize to Mil. Fiancé said her family won't come to the wedding till I reconcile with her mom and cancel the ban, but I won't let my son be disrespected in his own house and asked my fiancé to understand. I'm refusing to reconcile but am aware this could ruin my relationship with all my in-laws, not just mother-in-law, and my fiancé thinks I'm selfish to cause drama. I'm 25 and am having a micro wedding. My dad's 43 and this woman's at least in her 50s. My dad and this woman have been together like 3 to 4 years at this point. I've never met her as they live on the opposite side of the country. I've had about 3 to 4 conversations with her over the phone and grow more annoyed every time. The first one was when I cut my mom off after a bad blow-up. Going on and on about I'm young and I'll come around and she's my mom still, etc, etc, etc. The second was last summer. I was 8 months pregnant and my car was impounded BC of the insurance company. It was resolved. I called to let my dad know, not her, and she kept going in circles repeating that we need to get it 'cause it accrues fees. I had a minor snap then. I don't appreciate being talked to like I'm stupid and 15. I was telling him that BC of the insurance company our truck got towed and was in impound, and they were in the process of getting it out. She chimes in, he had me on speaker, and repeatedly said in a tizzy, get that car out. You need it, it's a cruise fees, the longer it's there the more it is. Literally repeated the same sentences for 10 minutes, refusing to listen, when I told her it was being handled, until I snapped and told her to stop it because it was being handled and I knew perfectly well what impound is and does, and to stop talking to me like I'm 16 years old. Again, I was 8 months pregnant and was giving an update, not asking advice. I sent my dad an invite specifically addressed to only him, and his RSVP was pre-filled for only him. I've seen him all of 2 times in the last 10 years, and the only time he made an effort of contact was when I was pregnant. Well, now I'm getting married, in a week at this point. He never sent his RSVP card, so I texted him asking about him and his parents, and he said they're all coming. So I reiterated all 3? And he said 4, including this woman. I said his invite was addressed to him and pre-filled for 1. I haven't had a text since. Not only is it my wedding, but my FH and I are announcing our 2nd pregnancy as well, and I don't want someone who lacks boundaries there. Or someone, not from my IL family, that I haven't met / don't know. Yes, I did try talking to him this spring in person about her behavior. I told him I don't appreciate it when she talks to me like some stupid teenager who doesn't know what anything means. I don't call for advice, I call to give updates. I didn't need or appreciate the consistent repeating of information I had made clear I already knew. He told me she's just motherly, and I told him that's great for her. But I'm not her child, I'm not her friend, and I don't need another mother. I have 3 and didn't need another one. I'll be sending a message tomorrow asking if he's coming or not, and if he won't go without her, that's fine. Just don't come at all, and I'll send a Zoom link that ends promptly after the ceremony. It's my wedding and I just don't want her there. If he doesn't want to go without her, that's fine. I'll send a link to the stream for those who couldn't be there.